How's it, everyone? Hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome to How's It Cousins, a very special episode. This is the podcast where we normally talk about the unique people of the world and the interesting things they do, where we can relate them to you, the viewers, and you can help feel what we're feeling. But today, I thought about trying to, we'll say, loop this episode and maybe shoehorn Kevin Feige as the topic, but no fucking way. We are blowing the lid off of Avengers Endgame because it was more than a movie. It was an experience. It was a milestone. It was a thing. So today, this episode is the Avengers Endgame Spoilercast.
How's it, Chris? Are you talking about Avengers Endgame? Yo, I'm down to talk about Avengers Endgame. Let's do this.
Aloha, Alvin. Thank you for joining me today on the Avengers Endgame Spoilercast.
Yeah, man. I'm always down to talk to you. It's always fun. Let's do it.
Before we get into it, I want to remind everyone that we are broadcasting this live at twitch.tv/howsitnetwork. If you want to join us, if you want to interact with us, jump in the chat and hang out. Follow us on social media at How's It Network, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll always post when we're going to be doing these kind of shows, so you can join us here. This podcast airs on all the popular podcast services, including iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. So if you want to hear us later on, go check us out there. Alvin, you want to plug anything before we spoil the shit out of Avengers Endgame?
Yes. My name is Aloha Alvin, and you can find more of me at alohalvin.com.
All right, so quick rules in the chat if anyone's here. If you see the word spoilers all over the place, that means the spoilers are on. But first, we're going to start with our initial non-spoiler thoughts on this movie. As I said earlier, if I could summarize of what Avengers Endgame meant, there are very few movies where I say afterwards, I will see that again in theaters. Avengers Endgame is by far one of those movies.
Okay,
I took my mom to see this movie.
Okay.
2 days later, my mom called me and said, I can't stop thinking about it. Can we go see it again? I'm
Nice.
like, we can absolutely go see it again. This was an experience. This was a thing.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I gotta say this. So, I do not mean to dump on you at all. This is not targeted at you. Having said that, in general, I very rarely see movies twice in the theaters. It's just a thing. On one hand,
me too.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? So, having said that, one, I will dissect the crap out of this when I can, and two, totally looking forward to seeing it again. We live at a time, for whatever reason, that they play a lot of Marvel movies on TV, or at least that's how it feels. And I will enjoy seeing this on screen over and over again. So little screen, big screen, DVDs, whatever, it's all good.
The way I can describe it is that, and many critics have said the same thing, this movie is a culmination of all 11 years and 21 other films of this franchise. It really pays off almost every single other movie. And the crazy part is when I was describing it to some of my coworkers, I said, there is no YouTube theorist or crazy conspiracy person that could have predicted everything that we saw. Even with all like the trailers, even with people thinking like, oh, it could be like this, it could be like the comics. There is no way that anyone could have like foretold what actually happened. And that's awesome. Like, so I'm a person that watched all the other movies, and I watch the analysis videos and I read about them and I'm super into it. And I was still shocked at some of the stuff that happened in this movie.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna totally agree to that. For the record, I tried really hard not to get anything spoiled. There's a couple of things which turned out to be, well, one was definitely a spoiler. Another one was just some dude doing his own thing. So it wasn't really a spoiler, but either way, I tried to avoid them. So for me, I tried my hardest to go in blind, and yes, it was awesome. And even the thing that was spoiled, still good. Still enjoyed it.
It's funny to where part of this movie, you can even kind of guess what's going to happen, and you're probably right. And it is total fan service, but it's still awesome.
It's still good. Yeah, it's still good. Exactly. Completely agree.
I laughed. I cheered. I cried multiple times in this movie. There are few movies that do that to me. Nice. Multiple times. I will tell you, this was so moving. I was tearing up while writing the script to do this show, to do this movie. And I might cry on camera while we're doing this. This is crazy. Like, it was such an amazing experience.
Yes, totally agree. Okay, so we're not spoiling anything, correct?
Right now, we're not.
Okay, no problem. So without spoiling anything, and we know this because we already saw the other movies. So in this movie, there's high caliber talent like Robert Downey Jr. You know, there's all these big name actors and actresses, and I said this before about Iron Man 1. You know, like in theory, anyone could have been Pepper Potts. No disrespect to her or Gwyneth Paltrow, but like that's how they used to cast stuff. Just throw in whatever, we don't care. But instead, they took the time. The casting was on point. We got Gwyneth Paltrow in Iron Man 1. And I'm like, man, this was awesome. Like, and that's how I felt about Avengers Endgame. All the casting just feels good. It just works. Now, like, see, it's very easy to say, whatever, you know, like, RDJ is Iron Man, ho hum. Like, no. There was a time when that was controversial. We're used to it now. We've had a decade plus to get used to that. So now it's like, you know what? It's just a pleasure to see these people on screen. You know, like, of course, so we know Cap is in it because he's Cap. So anyway, Chris Evans, I knew him as Fantastic Four guy, right? Human Torch guy. See?
Super shitty movie too,
no,
by the way.
Okay, well, now I know I'm like the only human on Earth, but I enjoyed the Fantastic Four movies. See?
Okay.
Keeping it real, even as a fan, even I know other people dumped all over them. But anyway, Chris Evans, Captain America, man, I love him as Captain America. I love it all the time, man. He should be Captain America all the time. I just love him. I love him. You know, like, it just works. For the record, again, no spoiler on the Avengers Endgame on previous movies. Cap 1, Cap 2, Cap 3. I loved all of them. I enjoyed him as small, skinny Steve. You know, I enjoyed him fighting Bucky. Oh my God, Winter Soldier was so good. Chris Evans all day. Hook me up. Do it. It's because I've seen casting that just hurts me when I watch the movie. None of that applies here. I love watching these guys on screen and women. You know, this is good.
100% there with you. They took a lot of time and care to cast the correct actors to play each individual character. And I will go ahead and say that, at least in my opinion, for the original Avengers, who were kind of the main focus of this movie, this, to me, was by far their best performance in those characters.
Ooh, interesting. I have not done one-to-one comparisons, but I will say definitely totally enjoyed them. Totally.
Do you have any other non-spoilery thoughts?
So a non-spoiler thing is, we know that this is the tail end, what's literally called Endgame, of a whole collection of movies. And for me, especially as a guy who read comics, you know, you always go from A to B. That's just how comics are. You know, you just read them and just enjoy. In the grand scheme of things, and I'm not going to name names here because I'm about to dump on them, other franchises have tried to do the collection of movies things. And I'm not dumping on DC. I like them. But anyway, other companies, like many companies, because you see Marvel earn the money, and then people were like, yo, let me do a connected universe. It's not easy. It's really not. There's a whole lot of juggling, and it is rough, you know, to do. So in that sense, even, okay, I love Marvel, obviously. Even if I hated Marvel, and I don't because I love them, but even if I did, it is still a masterpiece. It is ridiculous to juggle all these things.
Yep.
As a fan who has read a lot of comics, I can say it's hard to juggle all that. As a writer who has tried to juggle multiple things, I'm telling you it's hard. You know, it's really crazy to see it all come together. And on top of that, it's entertaining. It's just fun and awesome. Like, forget just juggling it. It's juggling it while it's on fire and the guy's blindfolded. You know, like, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So now we're going to get into spoilers for this movie. If you've never seen it, this is your chance to mute chat, to get out if you need to. I appreciate anyone that comes by. Okay, so the chat's got the spoiler warning, the title's got the spoiler warning, the picture's got the spoiler warning.
Boom.
But from now on, spoilers are on, and the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna go through the entire fucking movie because it's just that good. Avengers Endgame, here we go.
All right, let's do it.
Alvin.
Yes.
The movie starts off with Clint Barton on the farm.
Yes.
With his family, and you already know what's gonna happen.
Okay, hold on, real quick.
Or do you not?
No. See, so I try to go into the movie blind, and I try not to dissect while I'm watching. I try to just enjoy. The effed up thing, which was very well done, was I allowed myself to enjoy this moment the father-daughter-ness, man, run it. This is awesome. Let him be happy. You know, I know this guy has seen a lot of battle. Let him be happy. So there was a moment, I can't tell you how long, but I'm watching. I'm like, all right, you know, I'm just going to enjoy this. Maybe it's a flashback. Maybe it's now. I saw the thing on his ankle. Who knows? And then, of course, they get dusted. And it hit me, man. I think I was watching and I whispered to myself, not too loud, but I was like, oh, shit. And then, yeah, it happened. And I could tell other people were not ready because I heard them react after the dusting. Like, I reacted like maybe a second or two prior. I'm like, oh, this is it, isn't it? Yep. There it is.
So as someone that has watched every trailer and seen all the preview stuff and knowing the Ronin story, once the movie opened with them, I was like, oh my God, they're going to do it. Right out the gate, they're going to do, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, I was freaking out right from the beginning because I already knew that obviously Hawkeye was absent in Infinity War, the whole movie. They explained that, you know, he went back to his family, so they showed it. But, oh my God, they're going to dust the family. Oh my God. Literally within the first 5 minutes of this movie, a tear's coming down already.
Okay, so this is my comic book nerd side kicking in. When that scene happened, again, I'm trying to just let myself enjoy and not worry about the dusting. There's a part where he's essentially teaching a young female to shoot a bow and arrow, you know, or shoot with it. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Because in the comics, there is a female, I think teenager, she uses bow and arrow. And I think she even calls herself Hawkeye. And then Clint calls that female Hawkeye. And I'm like, oh, damn, is this for the next movie? Is that what? And then, no, they're dusted. And then, I'm like, oh, that hit me, man. That hit me. You know, like, I let myself enjoy the scene a little too much. And of course, we're going to go back to the dusting. So, yeah, that hit me. Because I'm like, dude, they could easily be setting up the next movie. Who knows? Who knows what this is? And it's like, no, it's just a kick in the face.
So, we'll get into that part later, but they could also still be setting up the next movie.
True. That is correct. That is correct. So there's this thing that I call frontline. So here's a great example. Okay. You and I are drinking coffee because we're normal dudes. And then outside, boom, Dr. Octopus throws a car into a window. And we're like, whoa, what is this? Spider-Man comes in. They swing away. Whoa, what's going on? Well, it's over for us. I'm just a dude drinking coffee with my friend. Okay, well, now what? I don't know. I should pay for my bill, I guess. But then we, as normal people, live out what happens next. We have no powers. I can't help Spider-Man fight that guy. So we just live normal life. So that's what I call Frontline, because there were comics like that called Frontline. And starting this movie with the Frontline scene was perfect. You know, like they even said in one of the other movies, Clint, your whole deal is being the human in this. Like, they need a normal man here. They need a normal person's perspective. And watching him lose his family, I'm like, fucking Thanos. Like my brain went right there, you know, like,
yeah, absolutely. Oh my God.
Suck me in, man. You got me. Yep. You got me.
They hit you right from the get-go. Yeah. You relate to it right from the beginning.
Exactly. It was awesome. Great. Very well done. See, like, that scene could have been somewhere else. They're like, nah, man. Right there. Step one. Here we go. So awesome. Yeah.
Once they hit you with the feels when Clint Barton's family dusts, they take you next scene to Tony Stark and Nebula aboard the ship in space. And this was also from the previews. They're running out of food. They're running out of oxygen. They're playing paper football, which is kind of an interesting nod to try to, I guess, humanize Nebula and show the journey that she went on. I thought that was kind of cool. It shows a couple scenes to where, you know, Nebula offers the last bit of food to Tony. And then that part at the end, you know, when Tony's, after he records his little video thing, like, he kind of falls asleep and she puts him, you know, she kind of, we'll say, tucks him in the bed, just like, I thought that was super cool. They really are developing her character.
Nope, I totally agree. So the previous movie, I remember people were talking like, oh, you know, it's an Avengers movie. And then the commentary on that was, no, it's a Thanos movie. And for me, I was like, yeah, totally. The entire character arc of the previous movie was Thanos. We saw him go from, you know, point A to point B, essentially. And then I heard this phrasing for this movie. They call, someone was saying it's a Nebula movie. And I'm like, dude, we got a lot of Nebula. We got a lot of Nebula. It was kind of ridiculous. How do you feel about that? Okay. I'm not complaining, but
no. I just think that Infinity War was a Thanos movie for sure.
Yep.
I don't know if I would call this a Nebula movie, although she does have a very good arc that goes throughout the entire show.
Yes.
I don't know if I would say it's a Nebula movie. It doesn't focus on her as much.
Okay,
But she has
true,
a lot
true.
of big things happen, and she plays a big role. Yes.
Yes. Not gonna lie, I saw all the movies, and I don't even remember how Tony and Nebula are on the same ship.
At the end of Infinity War, they are the last two left on Titan. After they fight Thanos, Doctor Strange gives them the Time Stone. He pieces out, and then he snaps. Everyone else gets dusted except for them. They're the last two.
Ah, okay. There we go. That's why. Okay.
Yeah.
Nope, that's right. Yeah, I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yep. So they are rescued with no explanation by Captain Marvel. She's in space, and maybe she got the beeper ping and just happens to know that, hey, I'm going to go find this random ship. Or maybe she does her own little investigation of what happened in the universe. I'm sure wherever she was, the snap affected people or, other life forms. So that big flash of light where Tony is seeing the light, maybe it's kind of foreshadowing his death later on. Ooh, big spoiler.
Nice.
And it happens to be Captain Marvel with her glowing hair and her glowing aura. Part of me wishes that there was more behind that Captain Marvel was a bigger role, but I completely understand why that's not the case.
A long time ago, the movie Mortal Kombat 2 had a whole lot of characters, and I remember thinking there's too many characters, I can't focus on anyone. Okay. So that's what I call the Mortal Kombat 2 problem. Now, in this movie...
Dude, Mortal Kombat 2 is like one of the worst fucking movies of all time for that reason.
Correct. It was rough. See, but the flip side, though, is I would sit there and be like, where's Cyrax? I like Cyrax. Or, where's Smoke? I like Smoke or whatever. So in that same sense, I'm sure people were watching this movie as well. Like, I want me some Captain Marvel, man. You guys promised it. So it's hard to juggle everything. Again, that's why this movie was so incredible to me, because they juggled that much. I'm okay with it. For instance, they never said this, but they hinted at Captain Marvel doing all kinds of stuff all over the universe. So I can see her deal being picking up stranded people so they don't die in space. I'm actually a little more okay with that than I normally would, because otherwise it does feel a little bit forced. Like, you just happen to be there. I'm like, nah, I think that was search and rescue. So I'm a little okay with it, actually.
That's fine. So
yeah.
I was explaining this to one of my other friends. I'm pretty sure that they kind of diluted the Captain Marvel focus, because as of right now, Captain Marvel, the movie, is still in theaters.
Oh, weird. That's cool.
So technically, if they had a big focus on Captain Marvel in Endgame, that almost has required you to see her movie prior to. There may be a lot of people who are unable to, see two movies in such a short amount of time. And they didn't know up front that Captain Marvel, the movie, would do so well, or how well it would actually do. If for whatever reason it flopped, then you wouldn't want to bet your whole franchise conclusion on a character that flopped in a movie.
By the way, when Black Panther got dusted in the previous movie, I remember people joking like, oh, Marvel did not know how well Black Panther was going to do, bro.
That too. That too,
I just
right?
laughed. I'm like, yeah, like that movie did very, 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 very well. So yeah.
Exactly. But if you think about it in the same way, they couldn't take that chance.
Understandable. Yes.
Let's just say Black Panther didn't do well, and then he was one of the characters that survived and had to play a major role. If for whatever reason the audience didn't take to it as well as they did, then it might not have paid off as much.
In Civil War, obviously for the comics, it was Cap versus Iron Man, just like in the movies. There's something called Civil War 2, in which it's Iron Man versus Captain Marvel. So it would be interesting if that becomes a thing somehow later. It would be like Captain Marvel could say, man, I saved you. You were dying out there and you treat me like this. That'd be an interesting twist too, to dial it all the way back. Because you're right. She is the one that saved him. Yeah.
Iron Man and Nebula return to Avengers HQ. You see the heartwarming scene to where he is rescued from space.
So I remember watching the film. Okay, so I don't always notice body transformations. Like apparently Tobey Maguire got really jacked when he became Spider-Man. I don't know. I don't pay that much attention to how muscular he is. So anyway, in this case, RDJ looks sick. Like he looked like a man. Yeah. So he put his body through some. Well, okay, hold on. I mean, they can turn Mark Ruffalo into a giant green thing, but I assume
and they can de-age Samuel L. Jackson by like 30 years.
Correct. So maybe he went through zero physical trauma, but assuming that he did, then hats off. That was quite a change. He looked emaciated, man. That was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a crazy moment. So Iron Man comes back from space as expected, but he is like a shell of a character that he was in the previous movies. He is shook by the fact that they lost. He actually makes and here's the first big reference, right? I wanted to put a shield around Earth, right? I wanted to protect it. And that's an Age of Ultron callback, all the way back to Age of Ultron. And he's still mad at Steve. It seemed like in Infinity War that he was willing to try to make amends with Captain America, but come back after he's unable to have that connection again, and they lose, and he's shook by it. Now he's like, fuck you, Captain America. I thought I saw this happening like 6 years ago, and y'all didn't believe me.
In the comics, if there was that huge a disagreement between Cap and Tony, like there was in the Civil War movie that we saw, whenever we see them next, it's still going to be a little awkward. Now, keeping it real, by the time Infinity War kicked in, Thanos is coming. Maybe we can put things aside and focus on this really dangerous person. I do remember people commenting, Cap and Tony are not as angry as I expected them to be right now. Part of it, too, is you could say some time has passed, a year or two or however long it was, so maybe they made amends on their own in that sense. But not all of that was off screen. So it's not fair to dump on them for that. I feel like there's so much movie going on that to have those scenes would have been a bit much too. Plus, with the ordering and the timing of it, I don't feel it was necessary. I did notice that as well. Certain changes between the movies, not easy to juggle. Once again, another thing that's not easy to juggle. In the end, though, I think they handled it fine.
Tony's like, all right, fuck you. You can have my little core thing. I'm out. Like, I ain't going to go do this. The rest of them, since now Nebula's back and she's got all the infos, apparently, and she knows where Thanos is. She's like, all right, I know where he is, guys. And then Captain Marvel and the Hulk and War Machine, they're all like, fuck it, let's go. Let's kick his ass.
Yep.
And they jump in the ship and they're like, all right, let's go fuck him up. And that's literally what was going to happen. I actually thought that this would be a battle and that they would lose.
Sure. Understandable.
I was not expecting what happened next, to be honest. I'm not sure if you saw it coming, huh?
The actual beheading.
Yes.
Okay, so real quick on this. Superman is treated a certain way. Anyway, when Superman kills Zod, it's like, oh, what's this? This is not my Superman. How dare you taint my Superman? Okay, so in that same sense, we've seen Captain America use guns, which I'm very surprised I did not hear more outrage or, I guess, shock response by people. And in this case, we see Thor chop a dude's head off. And it's just like, all right, moving on then. I'm just surprised. I guess Thor has never stated the no-killing policy, but I figured in the movies, maybe, who knows? There's a lot of alien beating up and robot beating up. Straight up chopping a dude's head off seems a bit much, but no one seemed to flinch. I don't know.
I flinched like a motherfucker. I'll tell you that right now. Bro, like, okay.
I was not ready either.
Okay, so Thanos, he's there, dude. He's relaxing. He's cool. He's doing his shamanistic thing. Not that he's dusted everybody. And then, kaboom, he gets punched in the face by Captain Marvel. Thor comes in, chops the Infinity Gauntlet right off his hand.
Yes.
That was a thing. Okay, so we've seen that happen before, I guess. People have lost hands in this and in Star Wars and in every other fucking movie.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Then, after he says, I destroyed the stones, and it seems hopeless to everyone, like, oh shit, what are we gonna do now? There's no way to reverse anything. There's no way to come back. He beheads him. Holy shit. Like, my jaw was on the ground. Like, seriously, I did not think that was gonna happen. I sure as hell didn't think they were gonna show it in a Disney movie of all fucking things.
Also agreed.
Oh my god.
For the record, and I guess this says something about my demented head, they chopped the hand off. First of all, I was a little surprised by that. I didn't expect that. I didn't. And then, I guess Thanos is resisting or whatever. I was waiting for someone to say, or for this to happen, chop the other hand off. Like, just, he's not...
Oh, God, that's even more gruesome. That would have been worse.
That's terrible, but I don't know why. I was expecting that. And the beheading, I'm like, nah, we good. Especially when Nebula's like, he doesn't lie. So if he said that, that is what it is. So yeah.
So they do it. Thor walks away, and, he's all fucked up. And then it cuts to the 5 years later.
Yes.
Now, this movie did tease that it was going to happen a good amount of time after the events of Infinity War. But after my jaw was on the ground with the beheading, like, the 5 years later just set in. Like, wow, it's not that we've been mounting our defense for 5 years. It's not that we're gonna fight Thanos, lose, and have to lick our wounds for 5 years. It really gave you the feeling of hopelessness.
You know, I will say this small Reddit moment. It was fun for me. The first word that pops up is five, and I'm like, oh, is this a countdown? Five, four, three, two, one. What is this? You know, five, and then years, and then later. So the way words are scrolled on screen, you can always put them well in a bunch. You know, there's no reason to pause like that. Except in this case, they want you to feel that time change, and you do. It's also a juxtaposition from the craziness you just witnessed in the previous scene. So it was very well done. Small thing, but even the subtitle or whatever, even the text on screen, handled very well.
We see Captain America in like a support group for people coping with what's going on. Cool cameo by Joe Russo over there.
Mm.
And also, it was, Jim Starlin, that's right, was also in that group.
Oh, weird. Nice. For
I
the
didn't
record,
recognize him the first time. I didn't. I had to watch a YouTube video that told me it was him.
understandable.
But that's really cool.
Russo, I did not recognize. My brain was like, you know this face, Alvin, but I couldn't. Having said that, I believe Jim Starlin is actually at Amazing, or he's gonna be at Amazing. That name sounds familiar. I feel like he's been here on the island.
All right, so we pan from there to what looks like Avengers HQ or somewhere around there. Black Widow is kind of running the show now. She's got War Machine, she's got Rocket Raccoon, she's got Captain Marvel, she's got Okoye on screen. Hey man, what's going on in the world? It seems like the remaining Super Friends are kind of maintaining order throughout the world, or trying to, in whatever's left of it. Captain America walks in, and this is the first time at this point we get a real peek into Scarlett Johansson's chops in this character, to where she talks about how the Avengers kind of gave her everything. It's her family. She came into it with blood on her hands, and this is all she has now.
It was an interesting moment because, to call back one of our previous podcasts, I remember saying, I don't think of Nick Fury as a spy, although I know he's an incredible spy because I keep getting told and he does stuff, but I don't think of him that way. So anyway, Natasha Romanoff, also a spy, you know, and then I thought about it, this is a very Nick Fury-ish thing to do. You know, coordinate these other people, get things done around the globe. The more I thought about it, I'm like, man, this does really fit, and I'm kind of glad it is her. So yeah, it was a good scene. It was a nice moment.
It was, and it kind of called back to the Winter Soldier, because her relationship with Steve, all the things that they went through, the character development that they had in that movie is now showcased here, and that was really cool too.
Okay, wait, I'm not sure if you jumped it. Is the next thing is yeah, I'm pretty sure all those killings, it's got to be Clinton or Clint.
Yeah, so okay. That's at the end of that scene. What happens is they foreshadow that Clint is going apeshit and leaving a whole bunch of people dead in all kinds of places. You can see Nat tear up because, and again, that now foreshadows their relationship. They didn't even tell the full story, but the idea is that Barton was supposed to kill her, but ended up sparing her and recruiting her to be in the Avengers.
It's a ton of stuff, and yes, it is nice, and agreed, because that's all like, I wouldn't say side dialogue, it's main dialogue on screen, but it's a very quick thing, and then you move on, you know. The sick thing is, and this is just the kind of comics I've read, I guess, when I heard about one of the heroes killing mafia folk or bad guys or whatever, I'm like, doesn't even faze me. I'm actually okay. I thought what the message was, Clint's out there and he's working. Like, we should get him back. I mean, it's kind of gruesome stuff, but hey, you know, he'd be a good addition again. But clearly it was the other way, which is one of ours is kind of murdering people. This is a problem. And yeah, understandably, Scarlett Johansson is like, I don't even want to go there.
Well, she asks Rhodey to let her know when he sees something else, right? She still wants to kind of keep tabs on him because she cares about him.
Yes, correct. You know, in my head, because part of it is always, hey, one of ours is still active and taking out bad guys. This is a good thing. The flip side of that is, man, it's a lot of killing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's a callback to Avengers 1, where they kind of explore their relationship in the beginning. They kind of set this up all the way to this point. Okay, from there, you get the San Francisco end card. Flash forward into the whatever holding facility where Scott Lang's van is. And the funny thing is, we can now say that the universe was saved by a little fucking rat.
You know, I've heard that joke a couple of times now, and I remember while I was watching it. So for the first go, I was watching. I'm like, is that really how he escapes?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I guess in 13 million other universes, the rat didn't press the right buttons. Whatever.
I guess.
Plus, yeah.
But it's funny because at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, when he gets stuck in the quantum realm, you're like, how's he gonna get out, right? There's all kind of theories on who's gonna go in and save him. How's he gonna figure it out? And they're like, no, fuck you guys, just a rat.
Yep.
Which I guess I'm okay with. If you look at it now, right? If they played out all those different theories that you could have inserted into these different things, the movie would have been even longer, and they couldn't do that. So they had to cut some things.
Understandable.
And I think that they chose the right things.
Okay,
as much as I would have wanted it to be a big thing for someone to go in the quantum realm and save him, there's no one who could have done it.
They had to make it so that the end of that Ant-Man movie, everyone goes, oh crap, like this is really bad. It wasn't like Michelle Pfeiffer was the one person to still survive, so somehow she figured out. There was just zero. So they had to make the stakes really high. And I'm actually okay with it being just some spontaneous button pushing. I'm fine with that.
So immediately there's some confusion with Scott. He's walking around not knowing what is going on. Ends up at Golden Gate Park where there's a memorial for all the people who are lost to the dusting. And immediately he starts looking for his family, his daughter, and probably the Van Dynes and Hank Pym. To me, that sequence was kind of missable. I didn't think they had to spend as much time doing that. That being said, they had to reunite him with Cassie. They had to, and oh my god, Paul Rudd played that so well. The reuniting of Scott Lang and Cassie. Oh my god, tears again.
No, I totally agree. So, first thing is, in the beginning of the movie with Clint and his family, I called that a frontline scene. And it's kind of a frontline thing too. Like, we're feeling what this guy's feeling. Like, please don't have my kid's name on this. Please don't, like you feel it, it's a rough scene. I think frontline scenes are too often cut. I'm okay with it being here. It could have been a little bit shorter, but I'm okay with that. Now.
Oh no, I'm okay with it being there. I just think it could have been a little shorter.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to throw this down because this one actually bugged me. I remember watching the previous Ant-Man movies and Cassie is there. And before I continue, holy crap, that is a cute little girl. That is a ridiculous, it hurts me how cute she is. That has to be like the cutest girl ever. Okay, so anyway, the daughter in the Ant-Man 1 and 2, holy crap. Now, having said that, I remember her face. I saw those movies. She was like 5 at most, as far as I'm concerned. The reason why I say that is if she was 4 or 5 years old, plus 5, that's either 4 plus 5 or 5 plus 5, at most she'd be 10. Now that girl that we saw on screen, I'm like, yo, you're way older than 10. So one, it kind of took me out of the moment for a second, and I don't like it when that happens. But two, it was perfectly okay. Why? Because female Hawkeye, the teenager who shoots a bow and arrow, she has a teammate. That teammate's name is Cassie. So those two girls are teammates on a different Avengers team. And I'm like, oh, dude, they're totally setting it up. So now it makes sense because a 10-year-old version of that daughter probably wouldn't be quite as combat ready. The girl I saw on screen, yeah, put her in a suit. She's ready. That's like X-Men age. I'm sure she's ready.
I have to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp again to see how young she actually was in that movie. But I think you're right. They probably just used the same actress and she just aged that much over the length of this time that's passed.
That's possible too. But yeah, either way, it felt a little jarring. Having said that, nah, it's perfectly fine. Because this one, like, as a comic book nerd, I can say, pretty sure this is where they're going to go. And if not, it's at least one of the ways they'll hint at. You know, like, oh yeah, Ant-Man's daughter, she's kicking ass out there, you know, etc.
Then, the next thing that basically happens is Scott Lang, now understanding what happened and where he's been, shows up at the front door of Avengers HQ. What's really funny, this is where it gets a little fucked up, is that means he drove the van from San Francisco to upstate New York.
I didn't think about that.
I'm okay with it, but that would have taken a week or so in general.
Okay, hold up, because I was going to mention this earlier and I didn't. Scarlett Johansson's character is a redhead all the time. And then she went blonde for a little bit. That's to hide from all the bad people. I did not keep a chart of this or anything, but I know there are scenes where her roots are showing, aka the blonde keeps getting pushed out of her head and the red is sprouting out.
Yep, definitely.
That was one of the. It was a subtle, not that subtle, but it was a good way to show the passage of time. So I assume they incorporated some of that because I know after a while her hair changes back. You know, why dye your hair when there's no reason to? I assume that was part of it. But you're right. I didn't even think of that. I didn't think, but you're right. Because the flip side is taking an airplane would not have been easy at all. So yes.
Well, he appears at the gate with the van. Now, there's some people online.
True. Right.
There's some people online that think maybe he could have flown and he just shrunk the van and put it in his pocket. Maybe, but
maybe. I don't know about that.
I'm of the belief that he drove, and who knows how long time passed. But who cares? I'm okay with it.
Yeah, there you go. Sure.
So, hey, let me in. Oh my God, is this whose sandwich is this? Can I eat it? Have you guys studied quantum physics? Are you talking about making a time machine? No, but yeah, I'm talking about a time machine. This is where the movie's gonna get a little wonky for some people because now we're introducing time travel, but we'll talk about it as we go through it. Black Widow's comment of, I take emails from a talking raccoon. Nothing is weird now.
Solid comment. Agreed. There are a couple of things that I, as a writer, try to stay away from on purpose. And one of those things is time travel. Now, there's a lot of reasons the paradox thing gets frustrating as a writer, as well as a reader, or a viewer in this case. And the other reason is it is a ridiculous amount of power. The ability to go back 1 minute can literally change someone's life. It's huge, you know? And in this case, they're jumping around decades. So when they said time travel, I'm like, yep, I get it. Moving on. Like, it didn't even faze me. Because that is the level of ridiculous power you need to undo something like this. So yeah.
Yep. And then they're like, hey, all right, so we need a brilliant person to help figure this out. Of course, the next thing you can imagine is they go pay Tony Stark a visit, who apparently now has a daughter. At this point, you're introduced to Tony's daughter. She puts on an Iron Man-esque mask. I guess that was foreshadowing. I didn't think about that, but it was. It's funny because, and this is a callback to our actual Robert Downey Jr. podcast, I thought that him having a daughter would be at the very end of the movie. Like, that would be the end of his arc, to where he puts down the Iron Man suit and has a family with Pepper Potts, and that's like his quote-unquote happy ending. Spoilers, that didn't happen.
Yep.
So when I saw the daughter at this point, I'm like, oh my God, they went there. Like, he actually did it. He said, fuck you, I'm not going to go kill Thanos in space. I'm going to do my family thing, and he did it over this passage of time, and that's how they're paying that off to you. So, car pulls up, Steve Rogers, Nat, and Scott Lang come out. They make a lot of jokes about time travel, Back to the Future. Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, he's like, of course I thought about it, basically. And he quotes a whole bunch of stuff and basically says, yeah, y'all are crazy. I have a life now. I'm good. If y'all want to hang out, cool, but I'm not about that anymore. Which plays well into how he was when we last saw him.
There's a different story. I won't break into that because it's a lot. So anyway, some guy is stuck somewhere for like 1,000 years. Anyway, he comes out of it and his friends are like, dude, oh my God, are you all right? He's like, you know, I did a lot of thinking. I think I want to spend time with my son. And then all his teammates are like, do it, man. You know, like, I will not fault you at all for that. In the same sense, Tony was stuck in space, you know, like legit believing he was going to die, talking to the helmet. So yeah, totally. I can see that.
It's interesting that, and this is something I discussed with a couple other people, after Avengers 1, when the Iron Man arc went from, I think, only about myself to I'm going to try to save the world and I'm going to dump this missile into this portal. And he falls out of it, almost dies. He has the visions after that. So the greater good and the protection of everyone becomes the forefront. It's very interesting how in this movie they take him all the way back to, nope, I was wrong. All the things I thought that I could protect everyone didn't work. And people like Captain America didn't help me with it. So I'm just going to think of myself now. He reverted all the way back. And I thought that was a very interesting way to take the character.
Oh, I agree. Good stuff.
So they leave Tony. Okay, this guy's not going to help us. Fuck him. And don't we know any other smart people? And then we go straight into Professor Hulk.
Okay.
The very next thing. There was no real lead up. There was a, hey, by the way, Bruce Banner, because that's who they allude to it being, Bruce Banner, right? Because he's the other smart guy. Yep. But he is now the Hulk and they are one. Okay. I was okay with them not explaining Professor Hulk and not showing you, just telling you. That was another detail to where I think if they showed you, it wouldn't have paid off as much and it would take a lot of time.
I think they wanted the audience to be like, whoa, this is new, you know? So there was that code splash, and that was the point. So real quick, I was trying very hard not to watch spoilers. And there's this guy, like, he talks about comics and stuff. So I'm like, cool, I'll look at this. Professor Hulk is a term I've never known, like, ever. But I read those comics because I remember it. It was just a amalgamation of multiple Hulks and Bruce Banner put together. Nerd mode, and this is important, I think, for people who are trying to really get into this movie. There's like Doc Samson, I think, and a female that they all know. They're all friends. It's Hulk and his buddies. So Hulk's talking to her, and then he walks away. And then I think the other guy, he's like, so isn't this cool? Like Hulk and Banner, isn't this awesome? And she's like, nah, that's not Banner, man. And the guy's like, what do you mean? He goes, he looks like Banner-ish. He looks like Hulk. He talks like Banner. He's smart, clearly. You know, he's not raging all the time. And then the girl goes, you know what? He just hit on me. All right, that guy just hit on me, and I've known Bruce Banner for years. He can't hit on anyone. Like, he has no game, and he is not even capable of looking a woman in the eye for more than 5 seconds. That kind of thing. So whoever that is, that's not who we think it is, and that was an interesting point of view that she had. So in this case, we think we know who that is, but there's that moment, and this was clear dialogue that they left into the movie, which. Maybe it was just for the joke, but I think it's a little bit deeper. It was, yo, selfie? Yeah, I'll take a selfie with you. And then, like, posing and all that stuff. I don't know about Bruce Banner posing with kids.
Very true. So it's interesting how that affects his character going forward.
On that note, again, a little bit more Professor Hulk stuff. And I'm going to complain about this later because we didn't see much about him. There are multiple different Hulks, quote-unquote different, and some are stronger than the others. Professor Hulk actually ranks low, which doesn't make sense, right? Because he's Hulk plus Banner. But you got to remember, madder Hulk get, stronger Hulk get, right? So he is not incapable of rage, but it's a different kind of rage. It's not as animalistic. So in that sense, for a big battle, you, in theory, don't want Professor Hulk. Or at least you want one a little more strategically minded, which is what I read in the comics, which was cool, with using a gun. But anyway, that guy, I don't think that's who we think it is.
Interesting. So you think there's more behind this whole Professor Hulk thing?
That's my deal. Okay, so one of the Hulk comics. Okay, so we see a green Hulk. Later on, next day, man, that was a hard fight. We see another green Hulk. Oh, he just turned back to Hulk again. He must have gotten upset. Next day, we see another green Hulk, right? So one of the theories in one of the books was there is no quote-unquote green Hulk. There's like 1,000 different dudes running around in his head. What we see pop out happens to be green. Sometimes the gray one pops out. So there's like all these different Hulks in his head. We don't know what's going to pop out, which is correct by comic book standards. So in this case, one of the Hulks that popped out was smart and can talk. That is totally not Banner. He's just not raging like crazy. Again, interesting theories, you know?
Right, so Professor Hulk agrees to help the team. I think that taking a picture with Ant-Man joke lasted a little bit too long, but I'm okay with that too. Correct. It had to happen.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
And then we go back to Tony Stark. His brilliant mind can't stop thinking about that whole time travel thing, even though he told them, no, I ain't going to do it. Yep. And in about 5 seconds, he figures out time travel. And I love the reaction, though. He kind of falls down into a chair and he's like, shit. Yep. And then, of course, the whole daughter shit thing. Yep. I wonder how many times they can say shit, especially with a little kid. True. In a PG-13 movie.
I get you. They usually do that. They count it and they place it. I have mixed feelings about Tony Stark being that good on time travel. I feel like he should have went to someone else. But one of my favorite books is a Zank book series. The author said, if my books were ever made into a movie, these 5 characters would become one. Because you just can't have that big a cast. I'm like, oh, interesting, you know? So the idea that different characters have to be mashed into one makes perfect sense. And in this case, I feel like someone else would have been the time travel figure-outer guy. But in this case, I'm like, no, it's Tony. Like, how many characters can you have on screen? Plus, we want RDJ to do cool stuff.
I agree. I think in the expanded Marvel universe, it would have been someone else. But in this case, I think it was appropriate.
Correct.
Flash forward, we go to Avengers HQ. And Hulk and Cap are trying to figure out what to do. We had that kind of slapsticky scene where Scott Lang goes back in time, comes back as a kid, goes back as an old man, and then a baby. I think I peed myself, kind of thing. It was okay. No, it had to happen, right? They had to do it that way.
I'm going to go way out of order because I don't want to forget. So this is a huge statement for later, but I'm going to throw it down now. what you just said was we saw an adult man become a baby. We saw that. They have the power via Van. At the end of this movie, for everyone who's seen it, I assume so because there's spoilers up the butt all over the place, we see Cap, quote unquote, turn old. And it's like, essentially, yo, I'm done being Cap. Enjoy. And here's my shield, that good stuff. We saw Ant-Man become a baby. We know for a fact they have a way to de-age people on the fly. Now, in the past, it was really dangerous, but we now have those cool GPS watches that Tony can make. So, hey, at any time, they can make Cap just be ready for battle again. It's kind of crazy.
I didn't think of it at the time.
I didn't either. That's someone else's. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that afterwards. I actually don't think they're going to pay that off.
I don't think so.
Maybe in many years, maybe, but I don't think they'll pay it off.
The statement a friend of mine said, which is correct, is, no, bro, I think Chris Evans is done. See, there you go. The actor in real life is kind of calling it, so.
Yep.
I'm just saying, like, intentionally or otherwise, they showed us they have the power to de-age anyone at any time. That's pretty intense.
True.
Okay.
True.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay. So, of course, Iron Man's got to rejoin the team after he had that real heartwarming conversation with Pepper Potts. It kind of foreshadowed everything to where he's like, hey, what are you reading about? Oh, composting. Oh, yeah, composting. Yeah, like I really give a shit.
Yep.
But I figured out time travel, by the way. And she gives him the line that gets paid off later, right? You won't be able to rest. And I thought that was super cool after the fact, of course.
Yep.
So he rejoins the team at Avengers HQ, gives Captain America back his shield, a payoff from Civil War. Oh my God. They had to include that.
For the record, I thought that was going to happen in the previous movie.
Oh, I did too, actually.
Yeah. So that was cool.
And then the line of, we're getting the team back together, right? We need a team. And we're working on it. Then we have the comedic scene, Ant-Man eating Taco Bell, or whatever how it is. And then his taco gets blown away. Nebula and Rocket return. Rhodey, watch out. There's an idiot on the lawn type thing.
That was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun, right? It's fun.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, the next section is the one that I could not have foretold. I have zero clue it would be like this. After Rocket comes back, him and Banner go to New Asgard.
Oh, right.
Oh, hi. And he sees Valkyrie, and she's like, I liked you as Dumb Hulk, or
of course,
how you were before.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a 3-second pause. Fucking fat Thor, dude. That, I could not have seen that coming. I did not expect that. They took that and they ran with it. Oh my God, that was so good.
I don't know how real it was, but if it wasn't real, I have to imagine that Chris Hemsworth was like, I am prepared to not work out every single day for my character. Like, man.
I'm pretty sure he was wearing a fat suit, right? He's not that big in real life. Right. There's no way. And there's no way you put on that much weight for this kind of role. I don't think so.
No. But what I mean is, like, I don't know if he lost his six-pack. I can't say that. But, there's a fluctuation most people go through. I'm sure for him, leaning on the chill mode must have been nice. Thor, we know you're going to be in a suit. You don't have to worry about working out so much,
Lethargic in the chat, pretty sure it was prosthetic. I agree.
Well, yes. But, I mean, so here's a great example, right? Like, you see Chris Evans at, a movie premiere or whatever. I know that he's that guy who held a helicopter in the movie with the biceps that can hold helicopters. But then Chris Evans at the movie premiere, he's wearing a jacket. I have to imagine at least some of that muscle mass has passed. This is the downtime. Actors can relax for 5 seconds. Like even Dwayne Johnson, that dude is huge. But I know he goes through fluctuations, as well as Mark Wahlberg.
Dude, Fat Thor with Korg and Meek drinking beer, playing Fortnite, threatening little kids on the internet. Oh my God, so good.
I'm sorry, I'll say it. For me, it was a bit much. I was like, wow, are they playing video games? Yeah, it was a bit much.
Really?
I think that was the point. Like, get ready for super weirdness. But yeah, even for me, I had to whoa, is this happening? Yeah, I guess so. This is all canon. Here we go. All right then. All right.
I agree. It was a bit cheesy there, but I was digging it just because they just went whole ham into it.
They
it was
totally
oh
did.
My God. We're going to take this and we're just going to run the fuck over with it. If you thought Ragnarok was a change in Thor, and then you thought Infinity War and he got funnier, this is a whole nother level of Thor being the funny guy. Holy crap. I loved it though.
Nice, nice.
So they recruit Thor, comes back, and then we gotta go get Barton. Crazy scene in Japan.
Yes.
Clint Barton's murdering dudes, and conveniently, Nat shows up in the rain. And this was a very quick payoff, and I think it had to be that way. They do kind of show the transformation of Hawkeye. They make him a lot more interesting.
I love the line where he's killing the bad guy, and the bad guy's like, "Bruh, who are you? We haven't done anything to you, you know?" And he's like, "It's still on. I'm still killing you." And that was just a good exchange. Saying I feel bad for those criminal types is a bit much, but yeah, like, they have no idea what's going on, you know? Like, there's that guy killing people in another country, whatever, and then all of a sudden he's in Japan. Which actually is kind of intense, because you can't just jump on a normal plane. Anyway, the other thing is, this is part of the trailer where I'm pretty sure what happens in normal samurai movies, the guy gets his sword, kills a dude, blood's all over the sword, time to wipe off the blade. There's a moment where he is essentially wiping it off in what I call his elbow pit. That's the elbow pit of the arm. There's no blade. I mean, there's no blood. I remember seeing that the first time. I'm like, what is he doing? Okay, I guess it's just cool movie stuff. And then I realized what it was. I'm pretty sure that's where I see like Usagi Yojimbo use tissue and clean the blade before he puts it away. But there's no blood there because it's PG-13.
From the Twitch chat, personally found Thor's arc kind of annoying. It was like Ragnarok extended, but a little too much. I can see that. I can see that definitely. I can see to where they went far and it's not going to hit with everyone. But for me, I liked it. That's just me personally.
No, totally. I get that. See, but here's the flip side though, okay? So like, think Star Wars and Jar Jar Binks, right? Like, everyone just kind of hates him. It's like, hey, can that guy go away? By the way, if you like Jar Jar Binks, man, throw it down. Just say it. Own it. Own it. You know, okay? Anyway, so Jar Jar Binks, comedic relief. It's like, hey, can that guy get off screen? I want to see lightsaber stuff. You know, like, that's how I reacted. That's how many people reacted. But it helped balance certain parts of the movie. Now, the flip side is, thankfully, they did not include a Jar Jar Binks in this movie. But you still need some weirdness. Like, who's going to play video games with his boys? Who's going to yell at a little kid over a mic? You know, like, I don't want Chris Evans doing that. I don't know about Black Widow either. So it's like, Thor, yeah, that's fine. And I laughed. You know, it felt super weird. There's some weird scenes. But I laughed at it. It did make me laugh at some points. So it's like, okay, I can see it. And I'm like, nah, it's fine. I think it worked in general. It was kind of jarring, but it's all right.
So they bring Barton back to Avengers HQ, and this is where they start talking about the whole time travel mechanic between War Machine, Hulk, and Ant-Man. They start referencing all the time travel movies.
Yes.
Hot Tub Time Machine was in there. They got super meta with it, right? Back to the Future, time travel. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I was personally offended by the question, like, does all your time travel knowledge come from Back to the Future? It's like,
yeah,
hey, that's
actually,
that's me, man. Come on, go easy, you know.
For me, it was more the ratio of his screen time. Oh, talking about Thor. Like,
sure,
he had just too much relative to other characters. He had a lot.
He did have a lot. On that note, well, okay, prior to quote unquote Fat Thor, he was the eye candy. So, in that sense, it kind of makes a little more sense to me.
So I think I see why they had to play the Ronin scene right before this other one, because when they're getting ready to test the time travel thing, Clint is the one who's like, yeah, I'm going. Like, he has nothing else, right? He don't care if he doesn't come back. He don't care if he dies at this point. I think I really kind of felt that.
Yeah.
And so he goes, and oh my God, the feels, like, you know where he is, right? When he appears back in the farm. And I was hoping that they'd pay it off. Holy shit, like, the feels again, his daughter's voice, and yet again, another tear. Oh my God, that was crazy. That was a really, really good put together scene.
Yes. You know, they say if a butterfly flaps its wings, it can cause a hurricane somewhere else, etc. That dude stole a baseball mitt and walked away. Yeah. I'm actually okay with that. There's a lot of stuff where I just say, all right, let it be. It's cool. But in the world of time travel, that was a huge move.
From the chat, really enjoyed the Hawkeye and Black Widow scenes in the movie. 100%. We're getting into the big ones now.
Bruh. Yeah, we'll get there.
Bro.
And yeah, bruh. Oh, so much. Yes.
I know.
Yes.
Now so now time travel works. Now we got a plan to get the stones. So everyone search your memory. we're going to pay homage to all the movies prior to Where Were the Stones? Let's figure it out. Thor, start with you. And he goes over the Dark World, which is arguably the worst Marvel movie. And he basically summarizes the whole plot thread. And I actually thought that was kind of funny, to be honest. They figure out that, hey, guess what? During the Battle of New York, there were 3 stones in the same spot. Maybe that's a good place or a good time to go to. Very cool. There's like, okay, we're going to split up into 3 teams. Cap gives a crazy speech, as expected, but oh my god, it was still good.
Yes. Solid stuff.
You even get the Rocket Raccoon. Wow, he's really good at this, isn't he? It was super on character. And then they jump into the time vortex, and we see it's Cap, Ant-Man, Iron Man, and Hulk go to the Battle of New York.
Yes.
I think it's right at that point they reshoot the whole circle around the Avengers scene. Super fan servicey, but oh my god, I loved it.
See, that's the thing too. It's like, I acknowledge this is fan service, and then I say, yeah, man, I'm cool with this.
Exactly. That's why it was so cool. Like,
yeah,
I was like, oh my god, they're gonna do it. Oh my god, yeah, and they did it. And I loved every minute of it. I knew it was gonna happen.
It was funny to see Hulk be like, okay, I need to pretend to be the other guy, right? All right. It's kind of gratuitous. I enjoyed it. That was funny. I like that.
Yeah. So, interesting choice. They send Professor Hulk to get the Time Stone. So, if Doctor Strange was even there, how did they think Professor Hulk would be the one to get the Time Stone? Everyone else made sense.
Interesting.
But maybe he just could get there quickly?
On that note, if I see random people jumping, 2 miles at a time, it would look weird. But if I see the Hulk jump 2 miles at a time, I'm like, oh, that's what he does. So, I mean, you could argue that. I mean, you have a good point. Maybe it was speed-based. I don't know.
No idea.
Yeah. I'll tell you the writer reason, or the artist reason. So I don't know what this is called, but I'm going to punch you in the chest and your soul is going to fly out. That looks the coolest with Hulk and Banner. And then we get to see Banner. See? So that is a very awesome visual. Also, it answers the question, like, who can beat up the Hulk? Dude, she could mess him up pretty hard, actually, with that punch thing. So, again, theory, right? People ask these kinds of questions, that kind of stuff. But that one visual, because I'm not even going to lie, I definitely watched Doctor Strange, but I don't think about the I'm going to punch you and then your chest is going to fly out thing. But it looked great on him. Watching the Hulk just get essentially knocked out like that looks amazing.
It made sense because he was too big to really do any of the sneaky missions. That's true too.
Ooh. Interesting.
But yes, so you mentioned that Hulk goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and it answers one of the big questions that was kind of circling Marvel after Doctor Strange, in that, so we have all these powerful wizards there during the Battle of New York. What were they doing? So obviously they are fighting. Obviously. So, yep, great moment with Tilda Swinton, the Ancient One. And super callback to Doctor Strange. They paid off Doctor Strange movie in this movie.
Yes.
When she does like the hit him in the chest and Banner flies out of Hulk. That's so good. Oh my god.
It was fun. There's scenes where the characters have to be told stuff, aka, all right, audience, pay attention. You don't know what's happening. Let me tell you what's happening. And when she was explaining the time travel rift stuff to him, I'm like, oh, okay, got it. That's for me. That's for me, the viewer.
Yep. Well, they set it up perfectly so that it's not Back to the Future, right? And it's not Hot Tub Time Machine. So basically, no matter what you do, your reality is still your reality. Your future is still your future. Just if you move one of these stones, then you're fucking up my future. I like it. I like that they didn't stay with those, we'll say, old school time travel movie tropes. They actually decided to do it differently.
Sure.
Then you have Captain America posing as himself as they go infiltrate Avengers Tower. Tony Stark flying to the top with Ant-Man in tow. You get the whole, hey, that's America's ass.
Yeah. So ridiculous. But yes, it was good. Yeah.
Yep. So I think it was kind of cool to see the retelling of Avengers 1 from a different angle. It was like a behind the scenes type thing.
Yes.
Where he's looking at the scene happening and you get to see what went on afterwards, which is totally believable, actually, in the way that the other events played out. They did a super good job in keeping you in that moment. They did another callback to Thor 2 when Loki impersonates Captain America and makes the jokes, I'm gonna be patrolling downstairs. Like, that's just like what he did in the other Thor movie, which is also super cool. From the chat, I think they just kind of low-key called it out so that they can get away with any kind of plot holes. Maybe. And there's huge ones later on. We'll get to those. Hulk, you have to take the stairs. Hulk hates stairs.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was awesome. I'm impressed he didn't jump.
Yeah, that's true too. And then we have the scene where Captain America, the future Captain America, goes into the elevator and they're paying off Winter Soldier again.
First of all, I love the crap out of Winter Soldier. Second of all, I could not enjoy that scene. I was like this close to enjoying that scene. So there's Rumlow right there, and I'm like, Cap, whoop his ass. Let's do it. Whoop his ass, right? But then we see the other guy. I don't know his name. Yeah.
Jasper.
So I'm like, oh, yes, there you go. They can't have a true battle now because that guy's just going to get smacked around. They don't normally do that. There would be a room full of combatants. I'm like, damn, it's not going to be a fight, is it? So then, yeah, it wasn't. But otherwise, still a fun callback. I love Winter Soldier, and that scene was amazing.
When I saw it, there's no way that they would have done the same exact thing. It's a whole different setup.
That makes sense. Okay.
But I love how they paid it off with Hail Hydra. That's so cool. And plus, that's like the comic book thing too. Oh my God.
All right. I'm going to throw this down, especially if other people can comment on this. The first time I heard about the Cap saying Hail Hydra thing, that was a huge turnoff for me.
Comic book wise, yeah, totally.
Yeah. So on that note, I call these cunning moments or cunning scenes. For Cap to say that, aka everybody relax. There's no reason to fight. You know, that's a very smart move. Very well played. Chat, throw it down. Or anyone hearing this, what are your thoughts on that phrase being used right there? For me, it was mixed emotions because it came from Cap. You know, partially genius move, partially ugh. Even though I know it's fake, it's still ugh.
Lethargic in chat. I really like that whole sequence. Elevator Hail Hydra is the best scene.
Oh, damn. There it is. All right.
There you go. There you go.
Nice.
And then we have the heist at the bottom of the Avengers Tower to where Ant-Man's going to go unplug past Tony Stark to cause a distraction so that they can steal the Tesseract, but are foiled by the Hulk coming down the stairs, which, again, I love that sequence. It was so good.
Okay.
So good. Wait, one more thing. Loki grabs Tesseract and poofs into thin air.
My beef with that is the original group wasn't expecting the heart attack, which makes perfect sense. But then the people we know, they must have known Hulk was going to appear and do stuff once he's down there.
So, interesting.
Yeah, see? For me, I had a moment of... yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you're saying that future Tony Stark was in that situation. So future Tony Stark should have known from being past Tony Stark that Hulk was going to bust through that door around that time.
Yep.
So standing in that area wouldn't have been a good idea. Ooh, that's a little bit of okay.
Yeah. That, I was kind of like, that was weird. Whatever, moving on, right? So
yeah, okay. I did not think that, but okay, I'm down.
Yeah. Here's a semi-real life meta-y kind of thing. So Disney is going to have a streaming service. By the way, I don't normally subscribe to those things. That one I'm actually legit interested in. But anyway, one of the things they announced is that Loki's going to have a TV show. So the theory that I've been hearing is that dude that poofed away, that's who we're going to watch.
Yep, I've heard that on the internet as well.
Yeah, so fascinating.
Cool. I mean, I like that whole, they had to throw a wrench in somewhere. They couldn't have been successful on every mission.
This is a joke I like to make with myself as well as other people. This is essentially a heist. Well, they call it a time heist, but it's like a heist movie, right? So let's break into the bank, steal the goods. Every heist I've ever seen goes sideways every time. I think it was in Solo. There's a heist moment. I'm like, all right, let's see how it goes bad, you know. And this is my joke for myself as well as anyone listening. I want to watch a heist scene, and then it goes perfectly. I'll be like, damn, that was a twist. I was not ready. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Ocean's 11 the first time.
Oh, I've never seen 11. Was it?
Oh my God.
I know. Go ahead,
Who
man.
are you, dude? Like, shit.
Yes,
I'm at least glad you saw Avengers Endgame. We can get into Ocean's 11 later. You go watch that. Perfect heist scene. Okay, so, anyway.
There was no hiccups, huh? I feel like every heist scene ever has hiccups. I'm at the point where I'm like, hurry up and hiccup already. I'm that jaded, which is sad, actually. I saw Ocean's female version. That's all. I know.
That one was okay.
I know. Okay.
Anyway, Chris from the future here to let you know that this recording was way longer than we anticipated. If you are dying to hear the rest of our opinions on Avengers Endgame, you can go to twitch.tv/HowsItNetwork, click on the giant spoiler Avengers Endgame video, go to the 1 hour 24 minute mark, and continue this conversation right where we left off at this point. But for now, you have to tune into all your popular podcast services next week to find our next episode of this review. Follow us on social media at How's It Network, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram to know when that episode goes live. Once again, we want to thank you for lending us your beautiful ears, and it's not goodbye. We shall see you later.